Looking at the website's design and name, the boss fell silent for a moment. She felt the design was ridiculous. Jane could only laugh hearing that. She quite agreed with the boss. However, despite being a bit cheap-looking, they were actually well regarded among society. They said this place surprised them because it could locate people effectively. The boss fell silent again hearing that. She looked unsure about what was said, until finally, she told Jane to just use the Falling Blossom Guild services. Jane understood and said she would send the request soon. She also said that all preparations regarding the Chai Jin-yoon matter were done. It should be fine once Kim Hajin takes a look and gives it the okay. The boss fell silent for a moment hearing that, then instructed her to send the contract. Meanwhile, at the hospital where Chai Jin-yoon was being treated, in the days following Chai Jin-yoon's awakening, it wasn't just Naeun and Hajin visiting anymore. Kim Soho and the others did too. Seeing their arrival, Chai Jin-yoon then focused his gaze on Soho and recognized him as Kim Soho. Soho felt happy and flattered that he recognized him. He also asked how he knew. Chai Jin-yoon told him that Naeun often talked about him during her days at the Agent Military Academy. She said he was an annoying handsome guy who acted like he knew everything. Naeun was deeply embarrassed hearing that. She then quickly scolded her brother, saying it was a long time ago. Soho felt a bit hurt hearing Naeun's impression of him from Chai Jin-yoon. He then asked Naeun if that wasn't a bit exaggerated. Naeun panicked and said it was because they weren't as close back then and didn't know much about each other. Yona burst into laughter hearing that. She then told Naeun she agreed with her. While the others laughed and joked together there, Hajin seemed lost in his thoughts. Since Chai Jin-yoon woke up, Chai Naeun visited him almost every day, and Chai Jin-yoon's condition improved daily. What worried him was that, according to the Book of Truth, the seed's development level was now around 97%. If 100% meant 4 or 5 years, then the seed's full growth was only 2 months away. That was an amount of time that couldn't be called sufficient at all. Noticing Hajin's odd state as if he was drowning in his own thoughts, Yona then asked what he was thinking. Hajin denied it and said he was just a bit tired. Hearing their conversation, Chai Jin-yoon then turned his gaze to Hajin. He asked, "You're Hajin, right?" He thanked him for visiting every day. Yona was shocked hearing that. She was confused since when he started coming so often. Chai Jin-yoon told her he came every day with Naeun. He also asked confusedly if it was a secret. Hajin didn't do this without reason. He came here hoping to speak privately with Chai Jin-yoon, but Naeun suddenly appeared from behind him and said that Hajin was her brother's fan. Hajin was startled by her sudden arrival. Naeun said Hajin always talked a lot about her brother. He often brought him up all the time. Naeun then remembered she brought a camera, and asked Hajin if he wanted to take a picture with her brother, but Hajin refused, saying it wasn't necessary. But, hearing his refusal, Naeun then handed her camera to him and instead told him to take a photo of her with her brother. Hajin was shocked by her request. Not giving Hajin a chance to refuse, Naeun happily walked toward her brother with a smile. Hajin could only resign himself to it. He then quickly aimed the camera at them both, and they immediately posed in response. After taking their photo, Hajin then returned the camera to Naeun, and as Naeun was looking through the photo of her and her brother taken by Hajin, Chai Jin-yoon told her to spend time with her friends too. Hearing that, Naeun said she always took photos with them all the time. Hearing that, Chai Jin-yoon then asked for the camera and said he would take a photo of her with Hajin. Hajin and Naeun were shocked hearing that. Chai Jin-yoon told Naeun to stand next to Hajin. With a slightly flushed face, Naeun asked if he was serious, but she didn't seem to mind, and when Chai Jin-yoon aimed the camera at them both, he then told them both to smile. Time passed. At this time, Soho received a message from the master instructing everyone to gather at the camp. The news was so sudden it surprised Naeun, who was currently enjoying her time with her brother. She then told Chai Jin-yoon she would be back soon. Chai Jin-yoon understood, and as they all started to leave, Hajin suddenly stopped, lagging behind the others. This was the moment he had been waiting for. He finally had a chance to be alone with Chai Jin-yoon, but he was confused about what to say to him, until finally, he decided not to leave and called Chai Jin-yoon. Chai Jin-yoon could only feel confused by his call, as he walked toward him. Hajin then asked about his body's condition. Chai Jin-yoon answered that he wasn't sure. Hearing that, hesitantly, Hajin asked if he felt anything evil inside his body, like hatred filling his chest, or sensing demonic energy instead of mana. That question certainly surprised Chai Jin-yoon. With Hajin's reflection in his eyes, Chai Jin-yoon then asked if he was asking about what happened during the suppression operation. What Hajin meant wasn't that. But he hesitated whether to tell Chai Jin-yoon or not. He was sure he wouldn't believe it if he told him his body would soon become a demon. He wanted to ask if he was willing to give up his life for his sister, and the reason Hajin wanted to ask Chai Jin-yoon that was just to ease his own guilt, and as Hajin was filled with doubt, Chai Jin-yoon suddenly reached out and ruffled his hair, with a gentle smile. He said he didn't know why, but he felt he needed to do this. Hajin could only lower his head hearing that. This seemed to worsen his hesitation, and at that moment, Na-yoon suddenly entered. Seeing Chai Jin-yoon ruffling Hajin's head, Na-yoon confusedly asked what they were doing. She then guessed it was some fan service. She was sure Kim Hajin must be enjoying it. Seeing Na-yoon's arrival, Chai Jin-yoon then asked about the call earlier. Na-yoon told him the master said he would postpone the camp activity to the 25th for her. After chatting with Chai Jin-yoon and finishing their visit for the day, Hajin and Na-yoon then left the hospital together. On the way home, under the streetlights, Na-yoon suddenly stopped. She thanked him for agreeing to come with her. Hajin, who seemed lost in thought, was startled by her sudden thanks. He then confusedly asked about it. Na-yoon said her greatest wish was to see her brother wake up again. It was something she wanted more than anything. But, honestly, it had been almost 5 years since they last met. She didn't know what to say or if her brother would find her unfamiliar, but because he accompanied her when visiting her brother, the situation didn't feel awkward, and she liked that. Hajin remained silent, not knowing how to respond to her heartfelt words. With a faint smile, Na-yoon then turned and looked at him. She asked if he was free when Christmas came. Hearing that, Hajin confusedly asked if she wouldn't be going to camp during Christmas. Na-yoon confirmed that, but she would leave at night. They could meet before that. She would leave at 6 p.m., so she asked him to meet her in front of the hospital at 12 a.m. Na-yoon then asked for confirmation on that. Hajin fell silent for a moment hearing that. He then said he would go. Time passed, and we arrive at December 25th. The weather was very cold now due to falling snow. Hajin, in his room, was currently watching a news broadcast about the future activities of the Essence of the Straight Guild. The reporter informed that the Essence of the Straight Guild had declared a raid on the Tower of Miracles. The Tower of Miracles was currently evaluated as the largest in scale. As a result, the Essence of the Straight stock surged nearly 10%. Hajin seemed to be watching the news with Soho via video call. Hearing Soho's sigh, Hajin then asked if he was worried. With a smile as if nothing was wrong, Soho denied it. He said they would return safely, but Hajin wasn't sure about that. In the original story he wrote, Essence of the Straight would fail. But since this was almost 2 weeks after the timeline in the original story, they might succeed this time. Since the co-author interfered, he wasn't as certain about the future anymore. He couldn't always rely on his original writing as a reference. The only thing he knew for sure was the true nature of that forest. As Hajin was lost in his thoughts, Soho suddenly asked him a question. He confusedly asked if he wasn't going. Hajin was confused hearing his question. He didn't feel he had any plans today. Seeing his puzzled expression, Soho asked again if he didn't have plans with Na-yoon. With a still confused expression, Hajin answered he had no plans with her. Soho was puzzled hearing his answer, because Na-yoon had told him they had an agreement. Hajin was shocked hearing that, because back then he never said he would go, but, as he recalled the event, he then remembered saying he would go, but, what he meant was he would leave now, not that he would meet her. Realizing that, Hajin then looked at the clock. It's 1:30 p.m. now. An hour and a half had passed since the meeting time Na-yoon mentioned. This made Hajin think Na-yoon must have gone home since their meeting time had passed, but, he suddenly felt a bit unsure, and when he looked at the snowy weather outside the window, he grew worried. Hajin could only curse. He finally decided to go to the place Na-yoon mentioned. After preparing, he then told Evangel he would step out for a bit. He told her to behave while he was gone. Evangel understood. As Hajin rode toward the place Na-yoon mentioned, he wondered. She couldn't possibly still be waiting there like an idiot, right? Especially with this snowstorm. He decided to check and then return. He just wanted to check. But, when he finally arrived, he could only stand frozen, because he saw Na-yoon still waiting there, shivering from the cold. Shortly after he arrived, Na-yoon noticed his presence. Hajin was truly speechless at that moment. Seeing him, Na-yoon annoyedly asked why he took so long. Hajin was also annoyed with her. He said it was her who misunderstood. He was upset because Na-yoon blamed him. Na-yoon was truly annoyed with him. She had planned so much for their date today. She even rented a game center, a cafe, a restaurant. But, before Na-yoon could finish her sentence, Hajin suddenly flicked her forehead. Na-yoon was startled by his action. Hajin confusedly asked why she made so many plans, since she only had a little time. He then invited her to just ride with him on his motorcycle. Nayun was stunned for a moment by his invitation. Hajin didn't explain further and just told her to come along. With a faint smile on his lips, Hajin told her that a date should indeed be spontaneous.